Hey you, come, gather around the campfire, and welcome to the party. This is Party Chat, a JRPG podcast where we talk about everything that we love in the world of JRPGs and other Eastern titles. I am one of your hosts, Cameron Hawkins, and with me, as always, is my party partner, Kevin Kenson. Kevin, how you doing?
Doing good. Waking up a little. We're doing a nice early morning recording on this fine. What day is it? Thursday. It's fine Thursday
Thursday,
morning.
and
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like a Thursday.
it feels
Um,
later, earlier, eternal. Where are we at right now?
it feels earlier in the week than Thursday. Like yesterday was Wednesday, and I'm like, is it Wednesday already? Like, so, but we're here because I got to go hands-on with Towa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree from Bandai Namco. And I got to play a good chunk of this game. I got to play about 4 hours. And I learned a lot. And I'm definitely we'll get into the nitty-gritty of things, but I think overall thoughts, I think this game surprised me a bit. I think that this game, I'm more excited for it than when I initially saw the trailer for it, which I believe was at SGF when they first announced that game.
Yes.
And yeah, I think it's cool. I'm excited to play more of it. Like, it's definitely a game I could see myself playing all the way through. And there are some notable comparisons that can be made to Hades. Like, if you liked Hades, like, this is them making their version of that. But I think that they do enough to differentiate itself from Hades that, base level stuff, yeah, it's Hades. But when you get into the more nitty gritty, the mechanics, the storytelling, the characters, I think it very much is its own thing. And I think it is those aspects of the game that make me interested to play through the entirety of it.
Yeah.
Um,
I do want to say before you dive into some of the
yeah,
specific thoughts. So I looked a little bit more into it because, like you, I'd really just had the initial trailer to go on, and I hadn't looked too much past that until I knew you were doing this demo. I didn't realize that this game is developed by Brownies, which might not matter to a lot of people, but it's kind of like this. It's something that I find cool because so Brownies is basically a successor dev to a previous dev team called Brownie Brown. That team used to do a whole bunch of different, really interesting games. They're actually responsible for like Legend of Mana and I forget the name right now. Magical Star Sign on the DS. Really neat stuff. They ended up being rebranded into One Up Games that now works for Nintendo. But the studio head left and then formed Brownies, which is this dev team. And they've done a couple experimental titles. They were in the mobile space for a little while, but they made this one game called Eglia that I actually thought was pretty neat. And it got like a Switch port remaster a couple years back. I haven't played too many of the other games they've done just because in genres I don't care about as much. Like they did a Doraemon Story of Seasons type thing. Uh, but finding out that it's this team working on Toa has me much more curious now. Just because I am a fan of like the past works of some of that staff. So very interested in hearing what you've experienced.
thank you for providing that information. Yeah, it's cool. So the narrative premise of this game is Towa is the child of this god, like this good god, and she was born to protect this this village called Shinju, and there is this like evil entity that is trying to basically corrupt the world with this like miasma.
Mhm.
And Towa decides that she needs to have these guardians that work with her to try and defeat this evil entity to stop the miasma from like corrupting the world and specifically her village more so. And these 8 guardians are known as like prayer children. And so before the game like properly starts, they explain that Towa and the prayer children have attempted to stop this evil deity several times and has continuously failed. And Towa has the ability to reverse time. But what she didn't know is that every time that she reverses time, she's basically creating a parallel universe. And with the world has mana. Like that is like how that's like the life energy of sorts. And the mana is being spread thin because the mana that exists, like, that existed in that parallel timeline, it like stays there. It doesn't,
Right.
and so they have to continue going through these different sections, beating these different bosses, because these bosses maintain a large amount of mana. So like part of it is like defeating these enemies to like restore the mana, but also like these enemies need to be defeated to defeat the main bad guy.
Mhm.
So like while the main evil deity has like his own like 8 people, Towa has her prayer children. And so when you do these runs, you actually control 2 characters, which I think was like when they first showed off this game and they showed that off, that was the most interesting thing to me. I was just like, oh, how does that work? Like how do you mess with that? And so you have 2 characters, and they each have a different weapon. So there's a sword that Towa basically like created, which is supposed to be like, I wouldn't say as far as like it's a godly sword, but it's a special sword. And then there's a staff. So you basically choose one character of the 8 guardians to play with the sword, or play as the sword person and one as the staff person. And so you primarily play and control the sword person, and there's like this like tether where the staff person like follows you around, and you guys can't get too separated, if that makes sense.
Right.
And what's nice and what's cool is that each guardian has a different kit. So it's not like no matter who you play as, they're going to reflect the same way in a gameplay sense. So I played first as this girl named Origami, and the character design in general really good in this game. Her design is crazy, like in a good way, because she has like like an origami boat. She basically has an origami boat for a hat.
That's
The
fantastic.
cosplayers are going to eat her up. The cosplayers are going to eat her up.
I just
so
looked up the designs. That is pretty awesome.
yeah, so her abilities are kind of more like charge attacks, and then she also has staff abilities. Her magic abilities if you decide to be the staff wielder. So like the sword wielder is called the Tsurugi, and then the staff person is called the Kasugi, I believe, or Katsurugi. And yeah, it's really cool. And so Origami was my sword person, and then Koto was my magic person, and he's like this little guy with a pretty like tall hat, like, you know, they had good chemistry. I'm like, okay, I like this chemistry here. I'm curious to see like how they interact with each other. And so I do the first oh, and then so like when you do the battles, the staff wielder has two spells that are assigned to your left and right trigger. So for Koto, his left trigger was like three thunderballs that would just like circle around him, and then there was he had like a shield thing where he would put down a field, and if you're in the field, you're invulnerable. You can't be dealt any damage. And so once you go through like each level, very similar to Hades. There's different waves of enemies. There are specific like enemy type rooms, but they're like more so mini bosses, or I don't think that from what I experienced or remember, because one thing that's nice is that when you go to a next door, it'll allow you to press Y or triangle, and you can see all of the reward signs and what they actually mean. You don't have to like guess. And so, because there are a few like ones for enemies, and like you'll either fight like two mini bosses that are smaller, or you'll fight like maybe enemies that are just generally tougher. But I really like that. That was like the first thing. It was like that was one thing that frustrated me in Hades. So it's like, oh yeah, what is this current? Because there's so many different currencies.
Sure.
And this game is not really that different in that sense. Like there are several different currencies. When it comes to like, oh, this will upgrade this will upgrade that. But in this one, at least it tells you like, hey, here's this, and that's nice. And so once you get to the end and you beat one of the bosses, probably the most interesting thing is that whoever they do like this ritual to like gather the mana, and to finish the ritual, the sword wielder has to basically like kill the staff wielder.
Oh,
yeah. And so I was like, because this trailer will be out when this embargo lifts. Like there should be a demo out now, people can play it. At the end of the trailer, I see this and I'm like, well, because this was before I did my playtime, I'm like, what the fuck was that about? What the fuck was that about? And then so like, and I think that I'm not I can't say for certain, but I think that like, because the thing is that when that happens, you can no longer play as that character. And so I was a little frustrated because I picked the people that I kind of vibed with the most to work with together. And now one of them's gone and I can't pick them. Like even when you get to a point where you can start like upgrading your like guardian stats and stuff, literally you cannot pick that person. Like it's grayed out. And it's like, that's crazy. Like, and so that is like the aspect that I think is very interesting.
Yeah.
Where like, because these prayer children, like when they are chosen, first off, I believe they volunteer, and then Towa basically decides whether or not she actually like wants them to, that they're like qualified to do it. But once they were chosen, they basically are like Towa, where they have like, they're basically eternal life. Like they're immortal in that sense, where they can't like, they don't die, they don't age naturally. So I think that's really interesting. and I just want to know more about that and like why that is. Like I want the narrative aspects of that.
So as part of the demo you played, were you able to do like multiple levels back to back? Because I do have a couple questions in regards to like how that losing a guardian kind of interacts with like later stages.
Yeah, so once you finish a path, you go back to the village. It takes you back to the village where Towa is, and there's more like stuff that you do with Towa at the village. Like I wouldn't say that this is like a full-blown management sim, but there are things that like you do at the village. Like
Yeah.
you make
Stayed,
weapons. Like
yeah.
and thankfully the team at Brownies knew like, hey, not everyone's gonna want to do this. So they like there is a blacksmith that's just like, hey, if you don't want to do this, I can do it. So it just auto does everything for you. Which is dope. But that being said, like I think just the general like experience of building your own sword like that first time was fun. Like I enjoyed it. Mostly there was only one aspect where I was just like, oof, like this is where you lost me. Where like it also like wants you to like design how the blade is shaped.
Mm.
And how you choose that is through sliders. And I'm like, nope, nope, I don't want to do this. Like
I know you are not a fan of sliders.
Yeah, I mean, in customization, I am not. I am not. I don't know what the better option is per se. I'm not gonna like be like, oh, you should do this instead. But I'm like, most of the time, this does not work well, in my opinion. And so I just like, nope, let's just keep it for what it is. Like, but you know, you do all the steps, and then I think it's really cool, just kind of like learning all the step-by-step things of like how a sword is made. But yeah, that was like the only real big management thing that I did. The rest was really just like conversations, talking with key people at the village, things like that.
Yeah.
And then you just like leave the village and then you start another run. So to be clear, the Guardians aren't in the village because the Guardians basically when the whole time revert thing basically hit its like limit of sorts, it basically exiled the Guardians into like their own space where like Towa, so like because initially Towa was going on these ventures with them, but now she can't. So she will like meet them in these like safe areas of sorts and being like, okay, like we're moving, you know, y'all are continuing, who's going, like that type of thing, and then you do another run. It's not like you're trying to get to the end the entire time, like in Hades where like you're trying to beat Hades, and then once you beat Hades and you like see Persephone, you get sent back to the underworld. Like it's not like that. It's more like each chunk, like each
Sure.
chapter of sorts. But the runs do get longer. Like the first run was like probably was like a lot less fights from what I remember than the second run. The second run felt notably longer.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I only did 2. I was able to play up to 3, but I just didn't get there in time. But yeah, it's really fun. And then you know there are these when you're going on these runs, there are like these campfire spots where like you can go to like a well and allow you to like upgrade your not upgrade but change your magic spells. So there are like I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 different spells for each trigger. So like whatever elemental is basically like whatever elemental magic that person has. So again, like Kodo had like thunder and like not earth per se, but like just like some sort of protective type magic. and then and then you could choose. You could unlock up to those for each. But again, my question is like, I don't even know if there's enough game to see like one of those guardians, like the guardian that I like decide to. Now that I know kind of like how the structure is, like whatever guardian I decide, like I want this to be like my last guardian alive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would be able to realistically unlock all of their magic, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So or unlock all of their skill points, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
That's something I'm very curious about. But did you have any other questions, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, I mean, I do have more questions, but not ones that I think you can answer. Just because there are a lot of like long-term framework things I'm curious about. Because like, yeah, like there's guardians you'll lose on specific runs because that's who you pass, that's who you sacrificed at the end of certain paths. How that comes into like fresh resets and getting them back, and like how you prioritize. I also wonder, were you saying there's 8 like enemy bosses?
Yes.
So that implies to me that if you're giving up a character each time, your last level is just a sword user and no staff, is the vibe. Unless there's a way to bring them back or something. So that's what I mean. Like I have questions, but there are things that like definitely go beyond the scope of like the 2 levels you're able to do. I will say, so for the 2 levels you did, after the first one you had to sacrifice somebody. On the next path, did you then get to freely select, like, did you have to stick with the same sword user, or was it like
No,
a
you
total
could
fresh
choose.
pick?
It's fresh. You could choose. I chose a completely different pair.
Cool. Well, one of them had to be different, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the sword wielder was also different. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, I'm so curious with the actual overarching like roguelite, because like obviously this is a roguelite with the way the structure is done, and like getting upgrades and having the home base. But I'm very curious how that sacrifice mechanic is going to add the flow. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
curious.
and it's go ahead.
No, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting, like, because you could totally just go all in on one character and and then just have that staff position just be filled in with whoever the next person is. Because I definitely think that there are certain sword users that are just like, oh, this person seems like notably better as a sword person than like the other characters, and so like, oh, maybe I'll just like go down this route with just this character. But the thing is again, is that like I think that these characters have like solid personalities, like above average personalities. Like I want to hear what these other characters have to say. I want to learn more about these characters. And that is like, it's a compliment for replayability, right? But also it's just like, I don't see myself being like, oh, I want to like replay this so many times to get like all these different interactions. Because 8 characters, all of them interacting with each other, like that would require so much,
Sure.
so much time to like see all of that. And I know I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But I am like still curious of these things that you're mentioning too, like, oh, how is this all going to work out at the end of the day?
Yeah, like how does it all fit together? It could also be a thing too, where like the early on, because like you were saying, right, like the second path was considerably larger than the first one. It's always possible that at least from the snippet you were seeing, that like maybe resource gain is increased in the later stages. So it's like, yeah, you were only getting so many skill points on like that first path, but maybe by end game, it's like there's almost like a catch-up mechanic where it's like, oh, you weren't using this character that actively, but there's a lot of stuff you're now going through on these stages. So yeah, I'm very curious.
Yeah, there's definitely some questions, but in general, like really fun. I will say that when it comes to just the general gameplay and just like the general combat, I wish the sword play was a little bit more. I wish it had a little bit more oomph to the attacks, and I wish that there was like it was better at like hitting. It's tough, right? Because like there's certain characters that just have sword swipes, but then there's other characters that have like charge attacks that are like, oh, this area of effect or like this area of influence when they do these moves. So it's like how do you find that balance of like making these attacks like somewhat guide you to like where the enemy is instead of just like, oh no, this is where you're throwing your sword and this is just where it's gonna go. Um, so like that was something that I found a little bit of like, oh, I wish this was done a little bit better. And for honestly a significant part of my playtime, I kind of kept on forgetting about the magic because my brain was wired like, oh, this character does sword stuff. The character you're controlling does the sword stuff.
Right.
And so I'm just like, oh yeah, right. Like I have a whole nother person with a whole nother arsenal of things. And so because they basically just follow you around and they don't do that magic stuff on their own, which they shouldn't, because if you need it,
Right.
then you're like, oh, I don't have it. And it has like the spells have cooldowns and things like that, but it's also just like, oh yeah, right. Like I need to start using these more. So that's something that like I definitely had to get used to as well, because your attacks are like your attack is your right bumper, and then your you have a thing. Oh, this is another really interesting thing that I completely forgot to mention, and I'm glad I talked about it because it it reminded me. So when it comes to your sword user has two different swords. So you have like a red sword and a blue sword. I'm not gonna butcher the names of each one. So the red sword is kind of like your primary, and then your blue sword is your secondary. And your attacks are different depending on which sword you use. And the swords have a durability meter. So when the durability meter goes out, you have to switch to the other one. And so I was playing with an Xbox controller, so for Y, triangle, X, if you're playing on Switch, you switch weapons and it does an attack at the same time. So like, and once your durability meter's out, the sword still works. It just is significantly less effective.
Yeah, it's like you're suddenly doing 2 damage a hit or whatever. It's like, great.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like you kind of have to find that balance of like knowing when you want to use certain weapons and when you need to switch and things like that. One of the things that I will admit, I will say that annoyed the crap out of me is that, and I get why they do it, but it's still frustrating because the durability goes away pretty quickly. I would say like after 15 seconds of consistent use, done, and you gotta switch to the next weapon. Every time the weapon durability is at 0, the sword person will say something like that, oh, the sword durability is gone. It's just like, I don't need to hear that every 15 seconds. I do not need to hear that every 15 seconds. Please stop this.
Right.
Again, I get it. You want to give that cue to the person, like, I don't want it. Like, I don't know if there's going to be an option where you can like turn off like non-narrative dialogue for your characters,
or like reduce callouts or something. Yeah.
Or something like that. But don't do it. Stop it. Like it was really annoying. And so yeah, it's just there's a lot of just like individuality in each of these guardians, thanks to like the mechanics that they introduced with the different swords and like the different magics, and everyone kind of has something different that I like. I think this game is really cool, and I think that like, at least from a gameplay standpoint, the way that they like introduce all these different systems, like, again, like I'm not trying to make this like a Hades versus, but like it gives me more things that like it just gives me a little bit more customization and variety that I really like. And I haven't played Hades 2 yet, but when Hades 2 is coming around, I hope that like is a thing. But I'm really excited about this game. It comes out September 19th. Um, Bad day for me because that's Trail's release day, but I'm very excited to play this game regardless. This is a game that I was definitely like keeping my eye on of interest to now being like, yeah, I want to play this game. I want to see this game all the way through, and I think that this is going to be a really fun game that people are going to really enjoy. Um, Kevin, did you have any other like questions for me that I may or may not be able to answer
No,
before we
I think you
wrap
covered
things up?
pretty much most of the main things I was curious about. Again, I definitely do have more questions, but I think a lot of it goes beyond the scope of what the demo was able to show. You were mentioning earlier though that as of this going live, there is a public demo now available, correct?
Yes, there's a public demo available. Yep, and I believe it is on all systems. It's not like relegated to a specific
Yeah, it's not PlayStation only or anything like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's not PlayStation only, it's not Switch only. It's I don't think it's Steam only. I think it's everywhere. So,
Beautiful.
um yeah. So very much looking forward to playing more and like, I'm sure you're going to hop in now when the demo's out and you're going to like give your thoughts to share on the main episode of the podcast, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts cuz I like roguelikes. I think I'm just a bit more particular in the ones that I like.
I would
And
say I'm similar, but
okay.
uh, this style of isometric action game is this style that resonates with me more. So,
Okay.
this falls definitely with the type of roguelites that grab my attention for sure.
Yeah, so I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it, and if you have any, you know, differences or like how we differ from each other, or if we're all just like, yeah, this game rips, and excited for its September release. Thank you to Bandai Namco for giving us the opportunity to preview Towa. Um, had a great time. Things went smoothly. So thanks to all the staff that helped. I did. This was a digital event. I didn't go anywhere to play this game. I played it right here, baby, on my PC. So yeah, thank you again to Bandai for giving us the opportunity. Kevin, anything for the people before we dip out?
Not today.
Alrighty. Thank you, everybody, for listening to our preview of Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. And until next time, we'll catch you later.
Later.